Hello, I'm Sarah Boyd from Eastleigh Borough Council. I'm here to help you identify the distinctiveness for watercourse. Distinctiveness is a measure based on the type of watercourse and its distinguishing features. Watercourses with rarer and more valuable habitats to wildlife will have a higher distinctiveness value. It is really important to identify this as early on in the project as possible, as this will help guide the developer towards retaining and enhancing the right habitat for that watercourse. This is more likely to lead to better biodiversity recovery and reduced costs over the longer term. It will also ensure that the right habitat condition assessment method is used for the type of watercourse present. There are 5 watercourse types in the statutory biodiversity metric, and each has a different distinctiveness as shown here in the user guide. Existing maps, local knowledge and expert judgment can be used to support the interpretation of distinctiveness. Priority river habitat is defined by Natural England as highly naturally functioning stretches of river and therefore includes only a very small number of watercourses. Priority river habitat, which is characterised as very high distinctiveness, can be identified through Natural England's published maps as shown here. If a river or stream isn't identified as priority river habitat, then it is recorded in the metric as other rivers and streams. Other rivers and streams have a high distinctiveness. These include watercourses that are seasonally dry, as well as headwaters. Other rivers and streams are usually readily identified through published maps, such as Ordnance Survey maps. Canals, which are categorised as medium distinctiveness, can also be identified through published maps as shown here. Culverts, which have a low distinctiveness, are usually easy to identify from a site walkover or existing plans of the development site. These watercourses are often forgotten about as they are out of sight, so I always recommend checking for watercourses that are hidden. Ditches are categorised as medium distinctiveness and are often identified on available mapping. However, it is important to note that it can be easy to misidentify a river or stream as a ditch. This might occur where a river or stream has been straightened or otherwise modified. What can be confusing is that some natural watercourses can be called ditches on maps, but they actually support natural processes or have the potential to do so with some enhancement. A bit more investigation may be needed to ensure that a ditch has been identified correctly. An important distinction between ditches and other rivers and streams watercourses is that other rivers and streams follow a natural flow pathway which may have been modified, whereas a ditch is an artificial watercourse that has been constructed purely for the purpose of drainage. Looks are deceiving, and desk-based information is key to supporting your decision. We recommend ignoring the name of a watercourse and recommend you follow these 4 steps to identify if your watercourse is a ditch or a higher distinctiveness habitat. Number 1, hydrology. When you're on site, is there any evidence that water levels are artificially managed by pumps or sluices? Is the water managed at a field level rather than forming part of a wider catchment network? Is the vegetation predominantly terrestrial? If so, the watercourse is likely to be a ditch. However, do not forget about temporary streams and winterbournes. These are incredibly valuable habitats that can be mistaken for dry ditches, especially if they've been modified. The other steps can help identify these temporary streams from ditches. Number 2, landscape. Using OS mapping, can the watercourse be traced back to a natural spring or source? Does the watercourse connect upstream and downstream to a natural watercourse? If not, the watercourse is likely to be a ditch. Number 3, topography and geomorphology. Also using OS mapping, does the watercourse follow landscape contours and flow with gravity? Or does the watercourse run against the natural topography? If the latter, your watercourse is likely to be a ditch, especially if you can see evidence of pumps designed to move water. Number 4, historical context. Does the watercourse appear in historical maps? Is there any evidence that the watercourse might have once looked more natural? If not, your watercourse might be a ditch. It's worth noting that channel modification may predate available historical maps. Parish boundary lines can be useful for identifying former watercourse alignments. We might also need to look into using remote sensing technology such as LiDAR if the historical maps don't go back far enough. If the watercourse is flowing along a field boundary, there might be evidence of depression on LiDAR elsewhere within the field that might indicate a form of more natural alignment. It is important to think about these criteria and use these sources to gather evidence to support your decision. Ditches provide valuable habitat, but these are different to habitats provided by higher distinctiveness watercourses. This is why there are also strict trading rules outlined in the Statutory Metric User Guide relating to watercourses. The mapping resources provided in this video can be a helpful starting point. However, they are not a substitute for local expert knowledge. So if you have other evidence to support the classification of your watercourse, discuss this with your local planning authority. Check out our other videos to help you understand how the width of the riparian zone changes depending on the watercourse type, and tips on how to spot opportunities for habitat enhancements.